All right, let's get into it. For about 6 years, this has been a long time coming, I've been Muslim. And not everyone knows because you don't have to declare your faith like you do in Christianity, well, like publicly. And I kept it to myself for a really long time, but to get to where we are now, we have to scroll back a little bit, about 30-ish years. So, as a kid, I grew up in an evangelical Christian home. My parents were leaders in our church. They were deacons. As a kid, I always knew three things. When I got older, I was going to have a lot of tattoos. I was going to be blonde, and I was one day going to go to do Hajj, the pilgrimage. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know that's what it was. I just knew it was a pilgrimage, and if you were Muslim, you got to do it. And I remember this because I was about 5 years old when my pastor talked about it. And I just knew then and there, I'm going to do that one day. But I didn't realize that in order to do that, I would have to become Muslim. But there's a whole history of life that happened between then and now. So, leaders in church, my parents, that comes with a lot. Anyone who's evangelical or Christian, you guys know how that can be. I, like many people, went through deconstruction of faith, of religion, and it was an interesting process, as it is for anyone. So I went through an atheist phase. I went through an agnostic phase. I started to decolonize religion, my life, started to figure out what my indigenous practices were and are. And in that time, I got interested in Sufism because it mirrored what I was believing indigenously. And as someone who, astrology and tarot and all of those things are very interesting to me. Every reading was my friends did on me, or, messages that would pop up on social media would be like, you need a disciplined practice of spirituality. You need to be meditating 6 times a day. And I was like, oh, that's a bit much. I don't think I can meditate 6 times a day. That's a lot of work. And in my spiritual practice at my altar, I would, cleanse myself before I prayed in the way that I prayed. So there were these things that were mirroring what would eventually become me taking my Shahada one day. But I will say, it did take years. When I was deconstructing religion, I got into Buddhism. And the principles I learned in Buddhism were really beautiful, and they helped me heal a lot of things. And I would say that learning about Islam, probably because it was in a different language, I was able to deconstruct a lot of the religious trauma I had experienced without it being correlated to Jesus and Christianity and things like that. It was very helpful. Buddhism also helped me with concepts of forgiveness and acceptance. Buddhism is a religion, but if you look into it, it'll only make you a better human, a better Christian, a better Muslim, a better atheist, a better, it's just, there's very good principles. I feel kind of like that with any religion for the most part. There's good chapters in all the books. But for me, that was just the beginning. So then came 2010, and part of the reason I'm making this video is because today is a day that I really don't like. It's Memorial Day, and it's a hard day for my family. It's a hard day for me. I don't feel pride in it. I don't feel really gratitude either. I just wish people I loved didn't die. I wish that the hate I unknowingly partook in didn't exist. I wish that, I didn't lose people I love. I wish we didn't kill millions of people that didn't deserve to die. But here we are, right? And this is why it's important to share these stories, no matter how uncomfortable they are or what, because I know there are tons of people like me who are deconstructing their religion, whether it's Islam, they're deconstructing, or Christianity, or whatever it is you grew up with. And we all have to find our way to live life that makes sense to us and is authentically us. So, that being said, in 2010 is when I really started to deconstruct the issues I had with Islam. My brother was blown up in Afghanistan, and that was horrific, and over 26 men died from his battalion. It was a terrible, terrible time. I was pregnant at the time as well, and my brother survived, but he is a triple amputee. And I remember distinctly sitting at a cheesecake factory, and him and my dad were talking, and there was a hijabi and their family sitting in close relation to us, and my brother was visibly uncomfortable, and my dad noticed, and they start talking, and then they talk about my uncle who was in Vietnam and how he's never been able to let go of that either. And in my head, my daughter is only a few months old at this time. I'm like, okay, this ends with me. We are going to teach tolerance. We are going to teach religion of all religions. We are going to teach love, because I'm not carrying this hate anymore. I had already started to read the Quran, because at this point, it's 2011 when that cheesecake incident happened. In 2010 is when I started to read, and I took my time with it. I was a new mom. I was helping my brother as much as I could with his recovery, and there was a lot going on. This would be my biggest advice to anybody looking to revert: is take your time. You do not have to rush into anything. If you've never been religious before, if you've never had a religion, it's okay to ease into it. If you have been in a religion before and this is your fifth religion you're trying out, again, some slowness. Make sure the steps you take feel good because of you, not because of what you might get for it from others or divine reward. Okay, ease into it. God guides us all. God has a pace for all of us. We must learn to listen, or else we give power away to people and things that don't deserve it. So it took me, it was 2010, it took me until 2020 to finally be comfortable enough to take my shahada. Was working healing Islamophobia in myself, healing religious wounds from my upbringing, and just so many other things, unpacking colonization, decolonizing my life. It's been a journey. Here are some things on why I made that decision. 1, because there's no original sin doctrine like there is in Christianity. We believe that you're born good and you're not to be punished for it. Yes, the story of Adam and Eve is also in the Quran, but we understand that humans are going to fail. That's kind of part of this whole world, is that you're going to screw up, but God, second point, genderless being, is not that wrathful, crazy person, that man that you were raised to believe if you grew up like me. Because as a mother, I couldn't ever imagine treating my children the way that was encouraged by religion. And it broke my heart over the last year as I, was going through steps to marry someone, learning the other side of how people that are Muslim like myself, but grew up in it, have the same exact childhood that I did. And I'm just like, wow, we've really missed the plot. So it really just shows me that religion can be good if you take patriarchy out of it and how that is used as a tool for control. One thing, and part of my practice, part of my business, when I make posts and all of that with At Heart Like Khadija, is that I never refer to God as he. I'm just not going to do it. When I talk about God, I don't talk about God as a he. It's a language thing, but God is not a human. God is not gendered. If you speak English, then you can use God or Allah if you want to continue to call, but you don't have to use he pronouns, he, his pronouns for that, because that's not how that works. When I decided to become Muslim, having one is kind of weird. You're going to always be looking for something because you were conditioned that way to accept something outside of yourself. So while I have a very different balance of it all, it's too much to ever explain in a video format. But if you want me to, then maybe I will try. But I felt like I needed something, so I picked what closest matches my indigenous beliefs that I could practice without having so much conflict in myself, and that was Islam. When I talk about food, preparation, the way that you take care of animals, I don't know, vegan and vegetarian since I was a teenager. In 2020, I also had to stop being vegan because I realized I was allergic to, or peas were allergy, yeah. They were a migraine trigger. So that took out a lot of vegan food. So I still care about how animals are raised, how they're treated. I'm a horsewoman, so obviously I'm going to care about animals. I'm a natural horsewoman at that, so I believe in keeping a horse as natural as you can, in a herd. And, that's a whole other thing too. I can talk about that one day if you'd like me to as well. But Islam has rules on how you take care of animals and then how they are slaughtered. That makes me feel like an indigenous way of living is that when you hunt, when you gather, everything is sacred. You use everything from the animal that you can. So it aligns with me and my beliefs. I also made a promise to myself when I decided to take my Shahada that it was finally time, that I would never recreate my childhood. What does that look like? It looks pretty lonely, actually. I've kind of found that I'm probably not going to marry a Muslim, and I don't know that I'll find anyone religious or non-religious that has the same moral compass as I do. It's just something I've learned to accept. But I will never be stupid, rude, mean, hateful to gay people. I can't do it. I won't do it. I grew up, us versus them mentality on a lot of things. I will never recreate that life for myself. I know that that's a big conversation in Islam and Muslim TikTok and social media and blah, blah, blah. Miss me with that. I have family members who are gay, lesbian. I have friends who are non-binary. In indigenous teachings, we believe that there are two-spirit people who embody both genders, but also beyond the concept of gender. Gender is a very big and broad topic that I'm not open to having a conversation with you. I also just really believe that at the end of the day, I'm here to do good. I'm here to show love. There are decisions and maybe codes of conduct in this life, rules, but I'm not the judge of that, thank God, because there are things that I would fry you for, but you might think are okay. So, to each their own. Please remember, I am not a scholar. I don't want to be. I never will be. I am just a woman who decided a path for herself and is sharing things because I know a lot of people go through this journey of what now?